no doubt adventure bikes are more popular than ever, with so-called ADV versions of all manner of motorcycles and even some scooters available across a wide price bracket. However, when it comes to true adventure bikes, those that are credible, hardcore on-off-road machines that are genuinely capable of circumnavigating the globe and traversing any terrain, the options slim down somewhat. Nonetheless, with numerous new models being launched over the last 12 months alone, vying for contention as the best ADV on the market, it's a great time for Visordown to count down the top 10 best go-anywhere hardcore ADV motorcycles. Before we crack on, be sure to like and subscribe, and why not throw in a cheeky comment on the video to let us know if you think our selections are right or wrong. Coming up first in 10th position is the Yamaha Ténéré 1200Z. Yamaha's big twin 1200 is something of a forgotten adventure bike, having been introduced way back in 2010, barely updated since, and with its minimal electronics, poverty of luxuries, and at best average 110 brake horsepower performance, it's kind of easy to see why. But that overlooks the fact that this big Ténéré, with its shaft drive, genuine dual-purpose ability, rugged build, and nowadays, relatively affordable price, still ticks a lot of boxes. Being a grunty but reasonably lightweight twin helps its off-road ability, it's as tough as old boots, and is an underrated road performer too. If the spec is a little disappointing, there is also the ZE version with electronically adjustable suspension. At number 9 is the Triumph Tiger 1200. Triumph's biggest Tiger adventure bike was introduced as the Tiger 1200 Explorer in 2012, and it was gunning for the BMW GS from the outset. With 135 brake horsepower, it was both faster and arguably more comfortable than the GS. But, and here's a sticker, it was a whopping 259 kilograms, making it heavier and it wasn't as capable off-road. Triumph been working hard to narrow the gap ever since. The first big update came in 2016 with a raft of engine, chassis and spec updates, including semi-active suspension, while a further significant update in 2018 saw it shed 5 kilograms. It's still big, hefty and daunting, but it's also classy, powerful, durable, and in the right hands, genuinely capable off-road. At number 8 comes in the Ducati Multistrada 1260 Enduro. Ducati's big 150 brake horsepower electronics-laden 1200 Multistrada was a true game changer in 2010 for bringing astonishing electronic adaptability and superbike performance and handling to the adventure bike class. With its 17-inch sport wheels and comparatively fragile construction, it was no off-roader. That however changed in 2016 when the Italian firm introduced the Multistrada 1200 Enduro, which, with its off-road wire wheels, longer travel suspension, stronger dual-arm swing arm, big 30-litre tank and more rugged bodywork, made a decent stab at off-road ability without losing any of its by then 160 brake horsepower performance. This was updated further recently in 2019 to become the Multistrada 1260 Enduro, with more manageable ergonomics including a lower seat, a slightly shortened suspension, marginally reduced weight and refined manners. It all made it all much less daunting off-road. It's still no pure off-roader like say a KTM, but certainly for experienced riders it copes better than you might expect, while still delivering all the thrill and brilliance of a sophisticated Multistrada package. BMW's first true middleweight GS Adventure first arrived back in 2008, based on the existing F800 parallel twin platform, and it impressed from the outset for its genuine off-road ability. Its lighter weight and more manageable proportions compared to the then 1200 GS made it a comparative doddle to ride off-road, and as a genuine dual-purpose adventure bike it certainly had a lot going for it. A significant update in 2018 brought us the F850 GS Adventure, complete with bigger 23-litre tank, 94 brake horsepower and better weather protection. On paper and in practice, it's a brilliant mix of off-road and on-road ability that's accessible to all at a fairly tempting price. On a slight downside, fully kitted, it's fairly pricey. It's not the best looker, and there's always a slight niggle that if you're going to go for a BMW GS, you might as well go the whole hog and get the 1250. In at number 6 is the recently launched Honda Africa Twin CRF 1100L. You can't criticise Honda for not trying when it revived the legendary Africa Twin name with the CRF 1000L in 2016, being a true dual-purpose adventure bike. Its dirt bias chassis made it among the best 1000cc adventure off-roaders, and it oozed typical Honda quality. And yet, it didn't quite blow anyone away either. So, for 2020, Honda has shaken things up again. The capacity hike boosts power to 100 brake horsepower, although it's still nothing to write home about, and the clocks are improved and there's decent electronics. Confusingly, the base version is now the longer suspension, more off-road focused machine, while the big tanked Adventure Sport is now the more road tourer. That said, the Stocker is still one of the better 1000cc adventure bikes off-road, being slim, relatively manageable, and with brilliant ergonomics and manners. At number 5 is the newest motorcycle on this list, the Triumph Tiger 900 Rally. While Triumph has struggled to make its big Tiger 1200 competitive, its smaller version, first launched as the Tiger 800 in 2010, has been in the hunt from the word go. Its two key strengths have been its unique 3-cylinder engine, which, being an enlarged, longer stroke version of that already in the brilliant Street 66675, is not just characterful and brisk, but also torquey and versatile. For 2020, it has evolved into the all-new Tiger 900, sporting serious off-road capability in the Rally and Rally Pro versions. It's bristling with tech, features, modes, and much more. It may no longer be cheap per se, but if you want a sophisticated, dual-purpose, capable and characterful mid-weight adventure bike, this is probably the one for you. At number 4 is the KTM 790 Adventure R. Now, you'd expect Austrian off-road experts KTM to come up with something brilliant in the middleweight class. At its first attempt, and with the 790 Adventure, introduced in 2019, they've done just that. As with other KTM Adventure offerings, two versions are available, the road bias-based 790 and the more off-road focused R. And it's the R that, if you're looking for a brilliant performing off-road adventure bike, is probably the best for you. Both bikes share a 95 brake horsepower parallel twin derived from that of the 790 Duke, and typical tubular steel trellis frame. The R, however, gets a proper off-road wire wheels, longer travel, fully adjustable off-road suspension and revised ergonomics. The result, while still perky and perfectly usable, in a big trail bike sort of way, on the road is simply in a different league off it. Light, punchy, slim and rugged, the 790R may not be as cheap or as versatile as Yamaha's similar TENERE 700, but as a classy, dirt-capable adventure bike, nothing much comes close. At number 3 is the daddy of them all, it's the BMW R1250GS Adventure. Given its success, popularity and continued status, there was no way BMW's big, class-defining GSA was going to be left out here. It could have been number 1 too, but if we're emphasising and concentrating on off-road ability here, it just misses out. The GS, particularly in big tanked adventure kitted out spec, does it all. Tour, hustle, take a pillion, dabble in the dirt, and importantly, has cast iron residuals. Since 2019, when it got a significant 10 brake horsepower power boost, thanks to a clever new shift cam engine, plus a sophisticated new TFT dash, it's also been better than ever. If you want a Range Rover among bikes, this is the one. However, although it copes impressively off-road, at 268 kilograms with the bulk to match, few will want to take it too far. Coming up at number 2 is the KTM 1290 Super Adventure R. Now, KTM's big V-twin adventure bikes have set the class standard for dirtability ever since the original 950 version debuted in 2004. So although it's due for an overhaul in 2021, the latest KTM 1290 Super Adventure remains the leader class benchmark for off-road ability. Combined with a potent 160 brake horsepower V-twin engine, class-leading electronics including off-road modes, slick TFT screen, LED headlights and more, the KTM is far and away the best off-road leader class adventure available, and probably the one we'd take on any trans-world adventure. And next year's version promises to be even better. Drumroll please, here is your winner at number 1, it's the rough and tough Yamaha Ténéré 700. Introduced in 2019 as Yamaha's long-awaited middleweight adventure bike, based on the already brilliant MT-07 Roadster, the Ténéré 700 has been a big hit for Yamaha. Its 72 brake horsepower twin is perky and tractable, its slim, light yet tall chassis makes it among the best of all the adventure bikes off-road, while we think it looks pretty cool in a stripped-back, rough and ready kind of way. In short, it ticks every box going. not least in terms of value at little more than just over £9,000, and even better, its off-road ability will shame much more expensive motorcycles. Criticisms? Not many, the budget build perhaps shows in some places, but in every other respect, the Yamaha Ténéré 700 has it all.